Another SEC team suffered a loss in the Gator Bowl. The Missouri Tigers ended up falling there in that game. It's been a weird year for Missouri overall. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, you lose one of your star quarterbacks, as Eli Drinkwitz was trying to let the quarterback competition play out in the year. They lost Sam Horn, then they ended up losing Bo Pribula in the middle of the year. They found a running game with Ahmad Hardy. For a while, he led the nation in yardage, and then towards the end of the season, obviously the offense did not look as crisp as it did early on in the year, and then fall to the Cavaliers, 13-7 there in the Gator Bowl. Just an odd season overall for a program that had a lot of life going into it.
It was such an odd season, but it was the perfect way to end the odd season because it was such an odd game. I mean, you look at it, and that first drive, Virginia could not stop Ahmad Hardy at all. I think he had that big 43-yard run that set up I think it was a 5-yard run from Jamal Roberts to open the scoring. And you thought, all right, well, Virginia is probably just going to roll over. You know, the mentality is down after losing the ACC championship and missing out on the playoff. And then it was just like, Mizzou could not get anything going the rest of the way. The first drive, it took 7 plays, go 74 yards and a touchdown. But the last 10 drives, 41 plays, 186 yards. You punt the ball 4 times. You turn it over on downs 3 times. Interception, missed field goal. It was just like everything that could have gone wrong ended up going wrong. And I think the one thing that really signified the end for this team this year was, you know, it almost felt like they tried to feed it to Ahmad Hardy too much. Right. When I was watching the game, it was just like, all right, Virginia, they let him have that 40-yard run on the first drive of the game. Right. And then after, they were like, we're going to make it a priority to stop the run and make Matt Zollers beat us. And he didn't. And honestly, Ahmad Hardy was getting very frustrated, and that was something that I really wasn't expecting to see out of a guy like him. And I don't know how that's going to – you know, these scouts and everything at the NFL level are going to be watching. And I mean, they do look for stuff like this, like attitude and stuff like that on the field. So, you know, it's just something that you kind of got to worry about moving forward. But it was just such a weird game on all fronts. I mean, Virginia, I think, had a 10-minute drive to start the second half.
They did, yeah. And I mean, obviously, that final score ended up being 13-7. But you mentioned it there at the very beginning of the game. It just felt like it was going to be the Ahmad Hardy show, and he was just going to end off the year on a really strong note. He ends up in the day with 15 carries for 89 yards. And we were talking with some of our friends there over in the Richmond area about this Virginia team. And, you know, obviously they ended up losing to Duke in the ACC championship. There you see Ahmad Hardy's numbers, 5.9 yard average, which is, I mean, obviously really, really good. Had a 43-yard breakout run there. But this is a team to me in Virginia that, and I want to make sure I got it right, gave up 27 to Duke earlier, and just felt like Missouri was going to be able to, you know, not necessarily put up the whatever score they wanted to, but you would figure at least 3 touchdowns there in that game, and for them to only get 7 at the very beginning, and it's not like some dominant, crazy Virginia defense. It just felt to me that things were a little strange there for his squad.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was because Bo Pribula didn't play. Obviously, he intends to enter the transfer portal coming up this Friday, but it's just – I don't know what I really don't know what to say about this team, because this is 3 years in a row now where this team expects to be
in the playoff,
in the top ranks of the SEC,
right? And
they get off to these hot starts, but it just seems like they lose one game and then they just lose it all,
right?
Like, if you get what I mean,
yes.
Like, you're riding high, you win all of these games. You lose a close one. In this case, it was the Alabama game. You had a chance to win the game.
Right.
Bo Pribula threw a couple of picks there, including one that ended up sealing the game. And then it just felt like the wheels just fell off.
Right. And it felt like it was almost unnecessary how the wheels fell off for this football team. And like I said, it started with the quarterback at the beginning of the season. It just felt like that position was never really solidified, even when it was with Pribula. Then he ends up getting hurt. Coach Eli Drinkwitz talked about those offensive struggles, only scoring 7 points, only in the first quarter of the football game.
I don't know. I thought the first drive we had a great rhythm. The second drive we had a good rhythm. You know, we couldn't convert some third downs, and then, you know, that the muffed punt right there, we were just out of sorts. There was a 3rd and 8, and we run a 7-yard route. There was a 3rd and 4. and we throw the ball behind him that should have been a clear first down. So we were just off, and then, after the muff punt, just didn't have a great sequence there, and then obviously the missed field goal kind of took away the momentum. We were never really able to get it back. They went on that, 12-minute drive to start the third quarter, had 2 4th downs, and it just, we never at that point were able to get in and settle in on what we needed to do.
So this is a really interesting and precarious situation for this Missouri team, obviously with the quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Zollers comes in. Yes, he is a freshman, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But what did you make of his time as he did come in as a fill-in? If you want to count the bowl game, you can count the bowl game. But what do you think about him moving forward with this football team?
Well, there's no doubt that out of high school, this guy had talent.
Absolutely.
And I think Mizzou thinks very highly of him. I think Eli Drinkwitz does think very highly of Matt Zollers. But is he Mizzou's quarterback moving forward? Not yet, in my opinion. I think when you look at his progression, again, he was a freshman this year, so and I think our friend there, Kevin Ryans in St. Louis, said some of these, I think it was the Texas A&M game, he was like, he was just zipping the ball because he was just so nervous, and I think that's when you go up against a team like Texas A&M, you're going to be nervous. At the time, undefeated Texas A&M. But when you look at his progression moving forward, I think if you're Missouri, you've got to go out in the portal one more time.
Yes.
And I think, in my opinion, you got to get a guy with 1 year of eligibility left that can just fill in for this year and get you to that next year, because you want a proven guy, but at the same time, you got to be able to dish out the money for a proven guy.
Correct.
That can also help develop Matt Zollers, because my guess is we're going to have like an Arch Manning development. Now, I know Quinn Ewers got a few years there at Texas before Arch took over, but I think you've got to give him 1 more year of development, learning from another quarterback, learning Eli Drinkwitz's system before you really are like, all right, let's make this guy the future.
Right. He has all the intangibles, 6'4", 215 pounds, and you talked about his arm earlier. He ends the season with 503 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR of 40.9. Of course, some of it was mop-up duty, and then some of it towards the end, obviously, was being able to fill in there when Perdula got hurt. So it'll be interesting to see if Eli Drinkwitz sticks with Matt Zollers moving forward, or maybe get somebody out of the transfer portal to help revive this offense into 2026.